Hi there, folks. My name's NovaWing24, and welcome to a special coronavirus edition of the Three Grumpy Simmers. Sorry, couldn't resist. Of course, I am joined once again by my two fellow brothers in grumpiness. I am joined by Sergio from helisimmer.com.
Hello, everyone.
And we are joined by the purple hat wearing Tomcat aficionado, mask wearing Drew Bell Geode. I must admit, I did really appreciate seeing the Tomcat calendar up there. I really did.
This is a brand new edition. I actually bought this back in December. It's, of course, a 2020 calendar, but I haven't had the opportunity to put it up until this week when my company started working from home. And I have an aviation calendar at work at my desk that's also a Tomcat calendar, but I didn't have one here.
And now we do. Now we do. This is good. This is good. So, folks, look, we had other topics that we're going to talk about, but we feel that it's probably... We're going to be like every single company that you've ever spoken with over the course of your entire life, and we're going to give you an update on how we're dealing with the coronavirus, with the COVID-19 situation. Has anybody else had that experience where your inbox has just been flooded with all these companies?
Yeah, only a handful. Really haven't had too many, but then I try not to subscribe to a lot of different stuff, but only a handful. It's mostly like doctors and so on and so forth that have inundated me with that stuff.
Oh, fair enough. I think I've had companies that I haven't had dealings with in probably 20 years. I've seen their company name and their email pop up in my account, and I'm just like, what the hell? I haven't dealt with you in 20 years. What is going on here?
Just in case, we're still here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, folks, we are just still here. We are still grumpy, but we want to talk to you about... I guess we want to do a bit of a... It's a bit of a public service announcement kind of episode, this one. So I guess we're gonna talk about a little bit about our experience and how this is changing our lives. So we're going to sort of get started with that and go through a few things like that. So probably the most apt one to go to at the moment, Sergio, would be you. Because, because this is the thing, folks, is that, you have three people here, all living in very different, very diverse parts of the world. So we all have very unique, different experiences right now. So Sergio, for you in Portugal, things are going rather sideways very fast in Europe at the moment. So what's it been like? What's been your experience so far?
Yeah, it has been sideways. It has been interesting and somewhat scary. And what happened is that all this started in China, and China was the epicenter for all this virus thing, and things are getting sorted back in China. And now Europe is the epicenter, is where everything is happening, and everything is happening very fast, especially in countries such as Italy and France and Spain, and especially Italy. Italy is being hit very, 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 very hard.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, and I think that happened because people didn't take it as seriously as they should. People started just disregarding it and saying it was just a flu. And I think that happened because you know what happens when you have seen that in online communities and everywhere. When someone says something for the first time about something that's new, that's kind of new, it tends to stick. It's a bit like, let me give you an example. It's a bit like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We all know that, or most of us knows that the sim is not actually called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator. But someone mentioned Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, so everyone is saying that the sim is called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Someone said that the COVID-19 had had a behavior similar to the flu virus, to the influenza virus, and all of a sudden people are just saying that this is a bad flu. This is not a bad flu. This is not even a flu. Okay. The way that it's spread, it's similar to influenza, similar to the flu, but this is not a flu. This is not just a case of bad flu. This is a very nasty bug. And Italy started to disregard this as just a bad flu, and they already have more death than China had. throughout the whole search thing. Over 4,000 people died from COVID-19 in Italy right now. The healthcare system is bankrupt. They are literally choosing which people get ventilators because they don't have enough ventilators for the people that are on the hospital and are having respiratory problems and won't probably survive this. That's the situation. So the other countries here in Europe are getting that information and are trying to get ready to it. Our our schools closed about a week ago. That was the first measure. Students were sent home. The government pitched in with some norms and some rules and so to help people stay home. Those that can work remotely started working remotely. It's actually a revolution in Portugal where working remotely is not seen as something productive from the company perspective. But all of a sudden they were forced to get their workforce to work remotely. And those that are not working remotely are being helped by both companies and the government. So they get 64% of their salary, and the social security pays for half half those 66%. They pay for 33, and companies pay for the other 33. Things like VAT and our taxes are being postponed so the companies can pay later. Special credit conditions are starting to appear with the government support so that companies can ask for money so they can pay their suppliers and pay their bills. The idea is that companies keep on keep the jobs for the people that are not being able to work right now. It's being hard. Pretty much everyone's at home right now. The country reached a state of emergency. So right now we can only go out to get groceries, to go to the pharmacy. We can go out to walk dogs, for example, or to do exercise if we are near home.
Really?
And no more than 2 people can go out this week. We can go pretty much go out and buy essential products. A lot of people like me are doing that just if we need to. I'm starting to buy a lot of things online, and here's something that it's interesting. I've been buying my groceries and other products online in these big online stores, supermarkets, right? Big companies. We call them hypermarkets here. Big companies that I can either get my goods delivered home or I can go get them at the store. I just go there, grab the bags and pay and get the hell out of there. I'm sorry, but the thing is, these companies are swamped right now. So people are starting to buy from small companies, more local companies that actually started to have a delivery service. Some already had it, most of them didn't. So right now it's possible for you to get meals from restaurants, get groceries from small stores, get bread from small companies as well, and get them delivered to your home so you don't have to leave. That's happening a lot here, and I've been talking on Facebook groups from my city, and a lot of people are looking for those products. As much that I actually released a small one-page website yesterday with a list of local companies that are doing that, so that those companies get customers and the people that are looking for those services actually get information of what they can get and where and have the contact, etc., etc. So yeah, we are staying home, guys. That old stay home thing that's happening. If not for anything else, it's because the government is actually forcing us. But one of the things that's making me very, 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 very with the Portuguese people, we're very peaceful kind of people, and I'm very proud because as soon as we started getting the recommendations from the national healthcare entities and the government, people just started to stay home. Yes, there are bad examples, old people that are literally on the street playing cards with each other, 10, 20 people gathered around, teenagers, in groups. That's still happening, but that's happening less and less. But most of the people, as soon as as the government and as the official entities starting asking us to stay home, to isolate ourselves, that started to happen. So it's the new laws, the new emergency laws that came out are not actually making a difference in the sense that the people was already listening and doing what was necessary. Cities are desert. There's almost no one on the streets. We're taking this very seriously. We are not in right now. We have about the last number was 28, 1,208 infected, 12 deaths. We're still in the start of the curve, but it's a very, very, very steep curve already. We're not like in Italy, but we are trying not to be like in Italy because their healthcare system is completely overloaded, and they are not being able to save people. Yeah.
And that really feeds into that whole. And I'm sure we've all heard of it and heard it ad nauseum, but it's actually really important that we all hear this and listen to this message of that whole flatten the curve conversation.
Right. Yeah.
It's incredibly important because because healthcare systems, no matter where you are in the world, only ever have a certain capacity. And one of the things is that people talk about, if you just get it over and done with, it's over and done with quicker. Yes, it is, but you will have more people who die because your healthcare capacity only is a finite capacity. And we are not like, and the rest of the world is not as industrious as Chinese are, because let's be honest, the rest of the world can't put up 1,000 bed hospitals in 3 days. We can't do that. The rest of the world can't do that. They can, we can't. So the fact is, guys, is that your healthcare capacity is set. Wherever you are in the world, it's set. So the idea of this is not about. It's not about saving you. And I think, Sergio, I think you posted something about this. Is that it's not. It's not about saving yourself. It's not about preserving yourself. It's about everybody else that you come in contact with. And that's a really important thing. And
there's something I'd like to. I'm sorry, Jason. Here's something I would like people to actually think about and understand. Okay, and I'm sorry for hogging this whole time of the conversation. But here's the thing: this is a very nasty and stealthy virus. In this sense, about 80% of the people that get infected have none very mild symptoms. I can be infected. I have no symptoms, but I can be infected. No, my daughter had a cough a couple of weeks ago, a nasty cough. Perhaps she was infected. We don't know. We didn't have any other complications. I'm pretty positive that in this surge, my family will get infected and we probably won't even notice, because we're relatively young. We have a teenage daughter at home, so we don't have any respiratory problems or any other conditions that will put us in the hospital because of the virus. Probably, hopefully. Okay, so this can actually happen. We can be infected and not knowing, and you can be infected for 10 days before you start to demonstrate any symptoms. But even after these 10 days, again, you may not have any symptoms at all, and you can, just keep the virus inside your body for another couple of weeks or so. So you can be a source of infection for about 3 to 4 weeks, without zero symptoms. Okay, and if you are feeling okay, you are dealing with other people, you are coughing, you are just breathing, and saliva vapor gets out and whatnot and lands on tables, and someone else puts their hand on the table or something like that and gets the virus. And what happened to you, I think that the numbers were like every person infects 3 to 5 other people. So imagine that throughout these days, you are infecting 3 to 5 other people, and those guys are infecting 3 to other 5 people as well. This is
grows
growing
exponentially.
Yeah, eventually, it reaches someone, and not just one person, but several persons. Elder people, people with respiratory problems, asthma, and whatnot. Eventually, the virus will reach those persons. More than one, 10, perhaps 100. because all of a sudden during these days you infected three, every one of those persons infected other three, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the month, probably that you are probably it's very probable that you are causing I don't know 100 200
Mm.
persons to get very very sick, and some of them will eventually die. That's the situation. You can be propagating, you can be infecting other people and getting this disease to run wild and actually kill people you don't even know about, or perhaps you do because perhaps it's deceiving your neighbor or your grandmother
Mm.
or your grandfather or your aunt or uncle, whatever.
Mm.
um, we may be carrying the virus without knowing, passing it on, and causing. It's not our responsibility, of course. We're not at fault for having the virus, but we can end up helping, causing grief to other people and causing death to other people unknowingly. That's obviously very serious, and that's what people need to understand. It's not just about you. It's about safeguarding and keeping the community safe. Okay,
And of
that's the
course,
thing.
and part of that community, keeping the community safe, of course, is the whole hashtag stay at home is come through.
Hmm.
So, Drew, you've mentioned that you're now working from home. So obviously the US has been
Hmm.
handling things very differently.
I don't know about
From
how the US is handling things, but here's my basic philosophy. Hopefully you can see that.
I'll
If you can't see that,
I'll make
I'll
sure
read
I'll
it
make
to
sure
you.
I'll
It's
make sure I
Morticia Adams,
I'll make sure to put a copy up down here for everyone.
and it says, "You realize how isolated you've been when a world pandemic happens and you need to make almost zero changes to your lifestyle." This is my life right now. I am the social distancing king. It's just me and Luna. And I've heard Luna cannot transmit it or get it or anything, so I'm pretty safe with her.
So
But the rest of the US, I don't know. It's all toilet paper and memes out there. It's just crazy. It's just nuts. Only recently, just everything that Sergio's been talking about that's been going on in Portugal, we're only now starting to take it seriously in this country. Thankfully, the state that I'm in, Pennsylvania, our governor was kind of proactive about it and, started to secure funds for emergencies and so on and so forth, and actually led the charge, if you will, on the whole work from home initiative. And couple that with my company, as I mentioned before, I'm currently working from home. They just basically took it upon themselves to, fire up the IT department and get them to get us all set up working from home. But then you also have to realize too, I'm in the healthcare industry. I deal with, workers' compensation and so on. So even though I'm not like, frontline defenses like your average ER nurse or anything like that, we do see patients coming into our building on a daily basis. So we actually had to shut down the clinic for the corporate office because that's where the majority of employees are. And then we took it a step further, and now we're all working from home. But yeah, this country right now, it's a mess, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as it could be. And I've heard that places like Las Vegas have shut down as of right now. Oh, that's very important, by the way. As of right now, Flight Sim Expo, the convention that's supposed to be happening in June, it has not been canceled as of the time of this recording. However, they cannot do any further planning just yet because of the fact that Las Vegas is pretty much completely shut down. All the hotels, casinos, and everything. Um, there's a lot of places around the U.S. that are starting to follow suit with that. But flying in the face of that and flying in the face of the whole social distancing, kids are still doing spring break. Even up till today, I'm still seeing stuff in Florida where, kids are congregating on beaches and so on, and they're just totally not taking it seriously. So this country, I guess it's kind of a half and half. There's, some that actually realize this is a pretty heavy duty thing,
Hmm.
and there's others that take it in the same grain as comedy, basically. So it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. It's definitely unusual, but for me, it's just another day at the park. Really, I'm just trying to be more cautious about what I do,
Sure.
and
Can I ask you something? Do you think
yeah,
people are perhaps this question? I will probably do the same question to Tristan because I have a feeling something similar is happening in Australia. Do you think people are confusing seriousness with panic? They are not taking this serious because they are saying that the media is trying to create panic. Do you think
yeah.
people are mixing the concepts? It's not a matter of panicking, it's a matter of taking it seriously and do something instead of waiting for the government to do it for yourself. What's your
It's
take
a
on that?
bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, yeah, there's definitely some form of panic. I mean, hell, toilet paper is now an endangered species on the shelves of the United States stores,
Yes.
and all of that was due to,
Mhm.
just random panic. The media really didn't say anything about the need for toilet paper or whatever. People just went out and started buying 300, 500 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, sorry,
you know?
sorry about that. That seems to have started in Australia. Sorry about that.
Well, guys, let me show you something. If you guys don't have any toilet paper,
Oh my god.
I have some good here at
There's
home.
the man.
So just
It's
let me
you.
know.
You're holding all the
Sergio's
supplies.
fault. All
When
along, it
we
was all
restart,
Sergio's fault.
when we
He's over there in Portugal acting like Gollum with his toilet paper. My precious!
So,
Oh,
so, but this is okay. So we
wasn't this supposed to be a serious episode about something
but
better?
I actually no. Actually, I want
Listen,
to.
this is a very serious situation. If we cannot make fun of ourselves in such a serious situation,
That
then we may as well just lay down.
I feel like being the meme of what's his name, not Samuel L. Jackson, the other guy. There's always going. He's like this guy, like the other
Oh, Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. It's like yeah, that. And actually no, but folks like. And Sergio, actually, I think you really hit on a key point there. Is that people are mistaking panic, crisis, and just being alert, not alarmed, kind of thing. Being aware of your situation, be aware of your surroundings, be conscious of what you're doing, but you don't need to panic. Unfortunately, the society and the herd mentality that often gets whipped up by media of all descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not singling out any sort of media source here because I see it across even media sources that should know better. That the power of words, and we're always very conscious of this in every episode that we do, and in all the social media and the content that we all three of us create on our various avenues as content creators. That words have a very powerful connotation, and some people can take them the wrong way. So it's and unfortunately, what a lot of media and unfortunately some content creators seem to thrive upon is whipping up this sense of panic or this sense of over the topness, and that's what they use to drive sales, drive views, drive clicks. And it's something that during a normal situation is annoying, it's frustrating, it's we call it clickbait for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing it back to a simulation content, for example, of context for the moment is one of the classic ones is Microsoft Flight Simulator. As Sergio said before, it's everybody seems to have fixated upon this, calling this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It's not. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator. Somebody somewhere said, "Oh, we're going to call it 2020 because that's when it's coming out," but actually, no, it's just Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
And the other thing is
They've
that
never said it was coming out in. They've
they've
never
never
said
said that. They've never said that.
They
They
would like
actually
to,
no.
but
They said they were targeting a 2020 release, but they never guaranteed it.
right.
Which I'm guessing with this current situation is not going to happen. So but the point is that, but again, in the flight simulation context, so the three of us manage a very, very large Facebook community to discuss Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Um, One of the key things, though, is that one of the things that we consistently see every day is people repackaging content that has come out from Microsoft and putting it out as new content. Folks, that's as their own, exactly, as their own content. It's like, no, it's not. It's clickbait. That's headline grabbing. That's trying to make money, make ground off somebody else. So, folks, I guess, and following off that, especially off what Sergio was saying of, and the US, and Drew, what you were saying about the US, with some people taking it seriously, some people not, is that be very mindful of what you share on social media. Um, be mindful of what you say and what you do, because what you say and the words that you type, or that post that you retweet or reshare on Facebook, or reblog in Reddit, or I don't know, what's the other one? Regran in Instagram. Be aware of what you're spreading, because that content, make sure you vet the content, please, is kind of what I'm asking. There is a lot.
Words can be as harmful as a virus.
Words can be more harmful than a virus, quite frankly. The and it's something to be aware of. Make sure you fact check stuff. I mean, it's a sad reality that here we are in 2020, and we have to fact check what comes from our governments, and we have to fact check what comes from major news outlets. But on top of that, guys, and I saw a post somewhere today where, here we are in 2020, and we have to, somebody said, if you spread lies enough, the lies become truth. The sad reality, that's true.
In the age of information, we all saw the internet starting to evolve and grow and appear and whatnot. And at a certain time, we realized, yeah, this is going to be just amazing to transport information and to get people informed all over the world. And in the age of information, we are actually spreading misinformation.
Yes.
Right. That's what spreads faster. That's what gets out there faster. I have seen more people misinformed about several things, but we're talking about the coronavirus thing, the COVID-19 thing. I've seen more people being misinformed than informed. Fortunately, that is slowly changing, and perhaps all this situation will get people to actually think about what they are spreading, or at least a lot of the people think about what they are spreading instead of just spreading it out. And like you said, doing more harm than the actual virus itself, because it's actually helping the virus spread more and more and more.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just ask you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very interested about this situation because your countries are very, very different than mine. I'm seeing what's happening there. It's like watching two trains going to collide, and it's just, guys.
Pretty much.
A couple of trains collided back in China. A couple of trains are colliding here in Europe. You have trains colliding on the same track, and you have two trains on the same track. You kind of know what's going to happen. So it happened before. So you kind of have something. Yes, we don't know a lot about this virus, but we have enough for you to realize, yeah, we should be doing this. So I'm kind of curious, because I would like to. And I'm turning this a bit around, and all of a sudden Tristan is not the guy doing questions. I'm sorry, Tristan. But
this is why it's a three grumpy simmers. We are all equal here.
Yeah, but you are usually the guy that does the questions and gets this to flow. But one of the things that this actually interests me, because, like I was saying, I asked Drew, but I'm also asking you, Tristan, because the situation is kind of similar in Australia. I want to hear about how is it how is it going there. But here's the thing. I was asking if people were kind of mixing the concepts of panic and being aware, or of panic, or getting this serious about. Do you think people are mistaking panic with being on alert or being active
Yes.
by the fact that the government is telling you to stay home? And all of a sudden, people are just getting this feeling that staying home means hiding from something, and they're not understanding that the government is telling us to stay home, not to hide from the virus. That's not the thing. We're not hiding from the virus. We're staying home to stop the ones that are infected and have no idea that are infected to infect others.
Mm.
That's the thing. We're not staying home. It's not so much to protect
Mm.
ourselves, it's more to protect the
Protect
community.
protect others.
Do you Yeah, do you think that's why people are saying that we're panicking because the government is telling us to stay home?
I think people are panicking mostly. Like, funny enough, I think the panic is actually subsiding at the moment. The panic was around because there was so much cross information coming out. Um, and look, I have a theory about the whole toilet paper crisis. I have a theory about it, and I have no idea if it's
People
going to be
crap
back.
themselves.
There's that too. Um, but okay,
One person
it's like
sneezes and like five people around him take a crap.
yeah. So I have a theory on that, and I theorized that when all this this thing started breaking out, that there was this new disease coming out, there's this new virus, and that people were just worried, and that somebody somewhere um didn't understand what was going on and just simply went. They had a moment where they just simply went, I need to somehow control my situation around me, because it's a very human response. Is that if when we have a sense of that things are escaping our control and getting out of our control, we try to latch on to one thing that we can control, that one thing in our immediate vicinity that we can control. Like we sort of latch on to that and go, what is it that we can control? What is it that we can grab a hold of and work with? And I feel that somebody somewhere went, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand what's going on. But you know what I can control right now is I can control the fact that I'm almost out of toilet paper. I need to have enough toilet paper or paper towels to, I just need to do that. Because that for me is what helps me control my personal situation. And then somebody saw some said individual somewhere buying 4 lots of toilet paper, and then they thought, I wonder what they know that I don't. I obviously need to buy lots of toilet paper. And then 3 people saw that person buying it, and it just, and here we are with
Yep.
here we are with, I go to the stop. I just went to, so I did my grocery shop earlier today, and there is a security guard standing next to the pallet of toilet paper.
Oh yeah, we've got them here too. Every Walmart pretty much now has security personnel for the toilet paper. The TP cops are out in force.
So I don't necessarily blame people for it, but at the same time, it's all about that information stream, and I understand that people, and especially a lot of people, have difficulty being told what you can and can't do. I get it. It's a very, and I hate to sort of stereotype here, but it's a very American thing to, do not tell me what to do. Do not tell me what I
Right.
can and cannot do. I will do whatever I damn well please. It's like, well, actually, you know what? It's like, actually, every now and again, for your own good, not necessarily for your own good, but for the greater good, you need to be told what to do. So, in terms of how things are here in Australia for the moment, I'm still going to work. Some companies are implementing work from home. It is not very widespread at the moment. There is talk of that changing in the very, very near future. So as this goes to air, there are discussions about whether there's going to be, it almost feels like they're going from one extreme to the other. So our country has actually locked our international borders. They shut down a few days ago. There is nobody coming in and out unless you're an Australian national. And they're now talking about ramping that up very quickly to include zero domestic travel. So, if you can't drive there on a tank of gas, then you ain't going there. It's basically that. But we still don't know. That's a conversation that's happening at the moment. So who knows what, by the time this actually goes to air, who knows what will actually have changed, happen. So I feel that we are still in that thing where we're still balancing between some people taking it seriously and some people not. I think that we I don't know, I guess is the thing. I think people need to stop doing, like, you don't need 10 packets of 300 rolls of toilet paper. You don't need it. You don't need to buy every single piece of meat in a supermarket. You don't need to. And a lot of the conversation, and a huge thing that I want to say is to all the retail workers out there, I'm sorry for the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
Now, I worked retail for the better part of 15 years, so I know how inhumane humans can be at the best of times. And then when you're factoring in the current global way of doing things, I'm sorry for the rest of humanity. And it really is a time where we're seeing the best and the worst of humanity. Myself personally, I've had to cancel my wedding. And
Postponed, not cancelled.
postponed into an undetermined future date and time. I was supposed to be getting married in a little over 2 months, and the Australian border restrictions are enforced until at minimum the end of June. Until June 14 at a minimum is where they've been enforced to. So I'm not going anywhere. So that's a rather frustrating time, and unfortunately, although a lot of the people that I deal with about my wedding have been very good about it, one particular individual, or rather company, that manages the property that I was renting for the time I was going to be in Hawaii for, that individual is being, shall we say, rather not understanding, and rather likes to change their mind at within minutes of each other, especially to do everything they can to avoid being a good human, which is unfortunate. Anyway, so I've definitely seen the best and worst of humanity over the last few days and few weeks. But
the thing with this whole situation here, the more it goes on, the more it keeps harkening back, at least for me, to the Matrix. You remember Agent Smith's speech about the virus that was infecting planet? He wasn't talking about microorganisms. He was talking about
humans.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
every day I'm just constantly amazed at what I see, and I'm like, damn, if Agent Smith wasn't right.
So as a random side note, an interesting little factoid about science fiction genre is that the science fiction genre was actually created, it's pioneered as a genre because it's actually there to give social commentary about human society. But human society, people will not accept a commentary, especially anything that goes against the way they feel it's their God-given right to actually do. American society. They will never accept that rebuke or that review or that discussion about the way their society is. But if you put it in a far-flung futuristic setting, suddenly you can actually take a step back and you can actually look at how your society is actually structuring itself, or how other potential ways of running your society, or managing your people, managing your money, managing the way that you do things, the way you react to things. Suddenly it's okay because it's in some far distant imaginary future. By doing that, by putting that, that's actually how science fiction genre started. As I said, it started because these authors wanted to people to take a long, good, hard look at themselves, but they won't unless you put it in a different context. So, anyway. But now that we've bored you to death with our various different experiences with the global situation, we want to pick up on the things that make us good and makes us good humans. And we want to do a quick little bit of a shout out, because this probably went a bit longer than we were anticipating. We want to do a bit of a shout out to the positives that are coming out of this from many members and many of the developers and contributors of our flight simulation community. So we wanted to do a bit of a highlight of many of the developers that are doing amazing things for us, and also whether it be giving stuff away for free or whether it be giving deep discounts that, you know,
Absolutely.
things. So,
because after all, if you're watching this show, chances are you have more time now to fly.
Can I just say?
We're gonna hook you up.
Can I just say?
Tell you where all the deals are.
Can I just say I don't? I'm still expected to rock up to work every day. So anyway, moving on. So
Everybody except Tristan.
sorry guys. So yes, we have many developers. So I'm gonna throw it over to you guys to share the good news. The good news.
Yay!
Good news.
Let me jump right in and share some DCS stuff, because you know me, I love my DCS. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit, because IL2 actually started it, and DCS
They did, yeah.
jumped on the bandwagon. IL2 started this stay home sale, where pretty much all of their items that they have are on sale, and we're talking like, you know, pretty decent discounts on there. I don't remember the exact hard figure, because I haven't logged in there for a little while. But then DCS started doing the same thing. DCS started doing this this week, where they have their Stay Safe, Fly Free sale and free trial period. So the vast majority of their products are 50% off. And in addition to that, what they've done is they've actually created a calendar. So for 2 days, every 2 days, they switch to a different aircraft that they will allow you to fly for free. So if you don't have, for example, the F-16, which was March 18th through the 19th, you could have actually gone ahead and downloaded that and flown it for free during that 2-day period. And then, of course, there's still a discount on it after the fact, so you can pick it up if you really decide you like it. So going through like the next month or so, they've taken one aircraft every couple of days, and you can download and fly it for free. And then, of course, there's a discount. And it's not just Eagle Dynamics, by the way. A lot of the third-party developers, for example, Heatblur, makers of the Tomcat, 20% off on that. Deca Ironworks, the JF-17 Thunder, they have $15 US off of theirs. And Polychop even got into it with 28% off of their Gazelle. And I believe Leatherneck Sims, Magnitude 3, whichever name they want to go by today, they also have discounts on both the Christian Eagle and the MiG-21. So it's like everybody's coming on board here as far as DCS goes, and basically, you know, throwing you a bone there. So if you really want to get your flight on with DCS, now is probably the best time. We don't have to worry about an Easter sale, because hey,
I think we got the Easter sale early. I think, folks.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's really impressive, because DCS doesn't do a lot of, well, at least they never used to do a lot of sales. So it's good to see them coming aboard.
Yeah,
with that.
this was actually surprising, but at least for me, I kind of figured they were going to follow suit. Because remember, I started this out by saying IL2 had done it, and I don't know how much you know about the two communities. They almost perfectly overlap. Like, a lot of the people that are into DCS are also into IL2, and of course they're completely different eras. Even though DCS does have
some World War II. I think the IL2 in many ways, I sort of think of them as the because they're all Russian developers, and I've got a soft spot for IL2, having played IL2 46 back in the day, many moons ago.
It's
Yeah,
amazing in VR as well. Oh my god.
particularly the new versions
That's
of
what
it. Yeah.
hooked me.
So yeah, that's good. So yeah, so we've got IL2. So you said IL2 done there. There's a good DCS. I think Sergio, you were telling me earlier. There's a lot of the helicopter and X-plane developers have coming on board very quickly as well.
Yeah. We already had some guys doing it. Like, for example, you're probably going to talk about Milvis, but yeah, Milvis was already doing something.
Hmm.
And I started contacting other developers and asking them if they could do this for the community as well. So we got Nimbus Simulation in with their UH1H UE for X-Plane, which is just fantastic. It's one of my favorites. V Sky Labs ended up not just getting the helicopter line in sale, but all their products is now on sale. And I first heard of V Sky Labs through Drew actually, and their products are quite interesting, very nicely done, very nice to fly. So you have quite a few helicopters from V Sky Labs as well on sale. And X Trident with their Bell 412 is now at 25% off. So there are a lot of helicopters for you to try out. And this is actually a nice time for you to try helicopters. You're probably bored to death right now, right? So you want to try new things. Just hop into a helicopter and spend the next 3 months just trying to hover. Just
Hey,
that.
so bit of a spoiler alert. Actually, funny enough, and speaking of Milviz, is that I actually did a review a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't. It's actually I reviewed it a couple of weeks ago, last week. I recorded it, I've edited it. It is actually going live very shortly. After this episode goes live, there'll be an episode going live on my channel of a review of the Milviz 530F. I mean, not like 530F helicopter will be going live on my channel, so stay tuned for that. So as well as that, of course, was Rotary and Cousins Carinado have coming out with discounts up to 75% off their entire range through all your favorite flight sim retailers. Orbix is doing up to 50% off regions and their photoreal scenery. And finally, I wanted to do a shout out to some of the communities, some of the freebies that are going around the community. So Parrallel 42 is offering their Preceipt FX product for free. They're offering that 100% for free. 100% discount on that one. Latin VFR is offering Roatan Airport for their Central Sim is offering Captain Germán Olano Moreno Airbase. Jetstream Designs is offering Little Rock National Airport for free, and A2A A2A Simulations is offering their P40 for everyone, and they are offering it for no matter what your sim is as well. So FSX, Prepared Academic and Prepared Professional, all three editions, they are making that available for free via their own web store or via your favorite flight sim retailer. So guys, huge thanks to all of those developers out there, and huge thanks especially to the developers offering their content for free.
This just in. Aeroplane Heaven, add them to the list as well. A swift response to the virus. They're just now making their Globe Swift GC-1A, which is kind of a vintage aircraft.
It's a really awesome
It's
aircraft,
free.
actually.
It's now free.
I love their play on words with their swift response to the situation.
Yeah.
Terrible pun, but
it's a really good looking plane. I might pick it up.
Well, as it's free, I highly recommend it to everybody. So, huge shout out and thanks to all of those developers that we just featured. And if any other developers, stay tuned to just keep checking your developers' sites and social media, of course, to see what other developers are coming on board. So, huge thanks to those. I do want to say a bit of a thing about that, folks, is that during times like this, where a lot of people in a lot of industries are being affected, that do think about all of these content developers, content producers and content creators that you all enjoy and that you all fascinate, including these two fine gentlemen above me. Make sure that you do show your support to them in any way that you can, and that if you can help financially, whether it be buying their products, buying their content, streaming their content, supporting them on Patreon if they do a Patreon or some other crowdfunding source, or even just giving them a like and a subscribe. Um, Guys, here's a big thing about when situations like this happen. It's really important to actually support the people that help support you. That's a really, really big thing. So, guys, I just want to do a bit of a shout out there to every content creator out there, no matter who they are. There's a lot of big names that you know, and there's a lot of small names out there that you may not know. Take this opportunity to find a new content creator, have a look at their content, and have a look at their stuff. And if you are in a position to be able to support them, please do, because that's if you want people to if you want to keep seeing awesome content come out of this, you have to support the content creators that create the content. So
Absolutely.
do want to do
We
that.
love the likes, we love the subscribes, we love the comments.
Mhm.
I won't ever ask you for, money or anything like that, but I love when people engage me. That is part of the main reason why I do this thing. I love the comments. I love being able to reply to the comments, and anybody who knows me knows that I will usually reply fairly quickly. Right now I'm working on Arma 3, so
Click on
replies might be delayed.
click on the ads, and that's the other thing, folks, is that as much as ad content probably annoys everyone,
Yes.
okay, a part of the reason why a lot of us, and this is true of myself, and I know it's true of Drew for his content, is that click on the ads. Even if you don't buy anything, click on the ads, because it's not a huge amount of income for us, but it helps pay for things like the software we use to edit this content for you guys. So just throwing it out there, you can support in myriad different ways that you can support. So, final words from my two fellow grumpy simmers.
Well,
Wash your hands.
and stay home, guys. That's the thing. Don't panic, but
Be
don't panic.
alert, not alarmed. Don't panic. Be alert, not alarmed. Wash your hands. I just on a side note, folks. I hope it really didn't take a global pandemic before people actually started washing your damn hands. Like,
I swear. I just swear. You know, when I was growing up, my mom used to say, well, she still says, in a Jamaican accent, a really thick Jamaican accent, it's almost like them don't have no brought-upsy. What does that even mean? I now know what that means. Brought-upsy, the way you were brought up. It's almost like no one even taught them. I just don't get it. I can't fathom the fact that there's people that don't wash their hands after coming from the bathroom. I mean, you're right there. You're right there.
oh god.
You could even wipe it with all the millions of toilet paper rolls that you've got in there.
Just
Wash your damn hands, people. That's the number one way to kill bacteria and viruses if they're on your person.
pretty much. Hey, folks, but on a serious note on that one, the whole message of wash your hands, be aware of your surroundings, and the flatten the curve message. So, I want to put this into perspective for everyone here. So two final comments from me. So the first one is I talked to a US Navy corpsman a couple of nights ago, and his words to me were, "You're going to get it." It's not a, if you think you're trying to do this to stop getting infected, you're going about this the wrong way. Everyone needs to act like you've already got it, because most likely you either do or you will get it very shortly. It's just how it's going to be. So you need to look at this not as how am I going to avoid getting sick. Everyone needs to start treating this as a, how do I stop my condition hurting other people. So going back to what Sergio said before about, be aware of your elders, be aware of people with compromised immune systems. Folks, this is serious, okay? So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say about is directly related to that. and I don't want people to be alarmed about this, but this is to give you a concept of how serious this is. So as we've heard, is that when a situation gets bad, as it has done in Italy, and if you don't flatten that curve and you get to a point where people, excuse me, where a healthcare system has to start implementing battlefield triage methodology, which is basically they look at things like life years left, how long are they going to, if they do start getting treated, how long are they going to be in the system for before they can be pushed back out to make room for another bed. And that kind of thought process is how you triage who gets treated and who doesn't. Now, to put that into perspective, I look like a fairly healthy individual. You know, as many of you know, especially who've followed me on social media for a long time, you know that I compete. I'm very active physically, as well as doing all the simulation stuff, the flight sim I do for you guys. The fact is that if Australia ever got or gets to that point where they implement that, if I got sick, I would be left to die. Because I have underlying medical conditions. So here's the point, guys. Wash your damn hands, flatten that damn curve, and don't let it get to that point where your local area, you look at someone that you know you care about, has to be left to die for that reason. Okay, so I know it's a bit of a glum message, guys, but it is serious.
We are grumpy about it.
We are
very grumpy about it. None of us want to die, and none of us want our loved ones
to die. So, guys, we want you to don't panic. Don't panic! But at the same time,
has
folks,
anyone checked on the dolphins, by the way?
So apparently they are still on Italian waters. So we're hoping that everything is fine.
Okay, good.
But seriously, guys, like, don't panic. Don't buy 200 rolls of toilet paper. It's okay. Only buy what you need, but be aware of yourself and your surroundings and be clean, because that you potentially are all that stands between you and people you care about being very sick, or possibly events that we don't want to imagine. So on that cheery note, we're going to say thank you very much for joining us on a rather different episode of the Three Grumpy Simmers. Thanks very much for joining. So I want to say thank you very much to my fellow Grumpy Simmers. Thank you very much to Sergio from helisimmer.com. And thank you very much to Mr. Drew Belgio from Belgio Productions.
And hopefully we will never have to do another type of episode like this again. But thank you at least for watching and listening. Ciao.
Thank you very much, folks. So don't forget, as always, to like and subscribe to the video if you're watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to head over to helisimmer.com and Helisimmer's YouTube channel to give them a like. Head over to or apparently to grab your toilet paper apparently.
He's precious.
Don't forget to head over to Belgio's YouTube channel to catch up on some great Tom Cattery, some great Armour episodes, as well as other flight simulation and simulation things. And don't forget maybe to give my channel a bit of a like and subscribe and have a look at the content coming out on mine. I'm hoping to get a bit of a live stream stuff going on as well over on Mixer. And yeah, don't forget you can also pick us up on Podbean if you want to listen to us instead of watching us. And also don't forget, if you do want to support the channel and all the things that we get up to, head over to Patreon at patreon.com/Novawing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for joining us. Take care, safe skies to all, wash your damn hands and stay the F home. Enjoy flight simming, and we will catch you guys later. Bye for now.
See you guys.